Men who get mad at the idea of women controlling our own reproduction are scared they're not going to be chosen to become fathers if we have any say in the matter. They think it is our duty to reproduce at the whims of men, and they long for the days when one, women needed men to survive, two, the men we were with, who we were only with because we needed them to survive, could get us pregnant, we couldn't do anything about it, and three, once they got us pregnant, we couldn't do anything about that either. For many men, so much of masculinity is tied up in having children to carry on their name that they feel like it is their right to become a father, because for most of human history, it was not hard to become a father. But for the 50 very short years where we approached a semblance of reproductive freedom in this country, women started doing what we actually wanted to do with our lives, which was having fewer children, having no children, or just waiting to have children until we found a man worth parenting with, which in general means men have had to be better to be chosen to be fathers. This man says that is called gatekeeping the birth rate and warns if we do it too much, we will just be forced to get pregnant and give birth, which he's not wrong. That's literally what they're doing with abortion and birth control right now. So if you come across a man that is at all put off by the idea of women controlling our own reproduction, or just like having higher standards, being child-free, being single until we find someone worth not being single for, run, because he's just communicating he's not good enough to be chosen in a world where we're not forced to choose men.
Mothers have always been at the center of feminism, because without mothers, none of us would be alive today. Motherhood is a natural consequence of unprotected heterosexual sex, a duty that many women have chosen to, or were forced to, take part in both historically and to this day. Many women are pressured into motherhood culturally or religiously, as they are taught that reproduction is where their greatest value lies. As Andrea Dworkin wrote in Right-Wing Women, women are interchangeable as sex objects. Women are slightly less disposable as mothers. The only dignity and value women get is as mothers. It is a compromised dignity and a low value, but it is all that is offered to women as women. Having children is the best thing women can do to get respect and be assured a place. The fact that having children does not get women respect or a place is almost beside the point. Poor women don't get respect and live in dung heaps. Black women don't get respect and are jailed in decimated ghettos. Just plain pregnant women don't get respect, and the place they have is a dangerous one. Pregnancy is not considered a cause of battery. Stress on the male, don't you know? In perhaps 25% of families in which battery occurs, it is a pregnant woman who has been battered. In fact, having children may mean both increased violence and increased dependence. It may significantly worsen the economic circumstances of a woman or her family. It may hurt a woman's health or jeopardize her in a host of other ways. But having children is the one social contribution credited to women. It is the bedrock of women's social worth. Despite all the happy, smiling public mommies, the private mommies have grim private recognitions. One perception is particularly chilling. Without the children, I am not worth much. The recognition is actually more dramatic than that, much more chilling. Without the children, I am nothing. And of course, many women want families. Reproduction is a natural desire, and many people, men included, seek to create a family. And the easiest way to have one is to create a child. Even if we criticize reproduction in sexual scripts for the ways that they disadvantage women, plenty of women will still be mothers. In fact, according to the Pew Research Center, some 86% of women ages 40 to 44 are mothers. Many women are pressured into motherhood for various reasons. From the nationalism and capitalism, which views women's wombs as a means of production to create more citizens and soldiers, to the cultural pressure that warns that we will regret it if we don't, either because of the belief that motherhood is just that great an experience, or because of a belief that reproduction is a woman's highest calling. Orna Dorna's book, Regretting Motherhood, delves into the topic. She writes, "This assessment of women traps us in nature's net, as the unquestioned assumption is that the reproductive potential of women's anatomy obligates us to become mothers. We are passively ruled by a fatalist command that leaves us no other choice. At the same time, there exists another opposite assumption, according to which all women yearn to be mothers and thus freely choose motherhood. Under this assumption, women actively, sensibly, and rationally turn to the path of motherhood of our own liberated will. Whereas the idea that every woman becomes a mother as a result of nature is rooted in ancient terms of biological determinism, the idea that every woman becomes a mother as a result of her own inner will is partly formed by modernity, capitalism, and neoliberal politics, which increasingly recognize our ownership over our bodies, decisions, and fate. The other side of these promises is a decisive ruling against those who are not mothers. Women who cannot conceive and give birth are often considered damaged or deficient for allegedly failing to use the advantageous gifts bequeathed to them by nature. These messages pronounce not only a decisive verdict, but also prophecies of doom. Women who willingly forego motherhood sentence themselves to an empty, dull, lonely, tormented life, charged with regret and absent of meaning and substance.
There's more to a woman than making babies. I don't agree. There is nothing more to a woman. There are other things. A woman can do many other things, but that's not more than making a baby. There is nothing in the world that is more valuable, more meaningful, more significant than making a baby. And only women can. Contrary to public opinion, only women are baby makers, and they should be thrilled with that capacity, with that role. Adam named Eve in Hebrew Chava because in Hebrew Chava means the mother of life. So is there regret if a woman doesn't have a child? Probably, because it's what makes a woman unique in the world, and if you don't enjoy what is unique about you, there's something left incomplete.
Many choose motherhood when they aren't sure or ready out of a belief that they may regret it later, only to suffer the consequences of being unable to have it all. Many MRAs argue that women being unable to balance home and work is a sign that women are better suited for the domestic sphere. However, the truth is that women still have to balance domestic life along with work, and since one is often considered less important than the other, often when balls must be dropped, it is regarding her career. This is known as the triple burden. As noted by Oxford Reference, in terms of labor division, sociologists have argued that expecting women to do unpaid housework, paid labor, and childcare imposes a triple burden on them in comparison to men who only do paid work. This means that after a full day at work, women are still expected to take care of the children and elderly, to keep the house clean and prepare food, as well as any other domestic duties. If their partners were to step up and help with domestic work and childcare, it would be far more manageable. As a result of the changes one must make to accommodate a child, many mothers regret motherhood, though they are loath to admit it. They still maintain the appearance of a good mother and rarely, if ever, give voice to these feelings. Women who are not maternal, the few who commit crimes against children, are elevated from horrible exceptions to something far more dastardly, as not only the crime repulsive for hurting a child, but it's unexpected, as women are expected to be maternal caregivers at heart. Donath writes, "A mother is a mother. She must always act like a mother and can never escape from her dignity as such." One source of this fundamental belief is the philosophy of Sigmund Freud, which made its way from treatment clinics into popular discourse during the 20th century. Freud's studies not only assert that the mother is not a person in her own right, but also explicitly contend that there is nothing she can do about it. In his studies, a mother exists only as a function for the other. Her own experience of the relationship between mother and child is always omitted. And, of course, if one is not a married mother, there are additional detriments to her life she must face.
I don't care what any baby mama say. Having to raise your kids by yourself is not a flex, and this is coming from a single mother. Listen to your sister. Don't let any baby mama deceive you into believing that being a single mother is more convenient than being a wife. You hear me? When I was pregnant with my daughter, I went through the whole pregnancy by myself. Ain't nobody going me to no appointments, no baby shower, no gender reveal. When my water broke, I got us to the hospital and from the hospital. And I can go on and on about my baby daddy. F my baby dad. F my baby dad. But I slept with him. So what kind of woman did that make me? A crazy motherfucker. Okay? You way too beautiful, way too smart, way too intelligent to be going through something like that. So live your soft girl life. Ain't nothing wrong with saying you too good to be a baby mama. You right. Because us strong black women not strong because we choose to be. We strong because we have to be.
According to recent statistics from the U.S. Census Bureau, single mother households have a poverty rate of 29.5%, which is more than twice the rate for households with married couples. Single mothers are also more likely to have lower incomes and experience financial hardship, with a median income of $35,000 compared to $85,000 for married couples. Additionally, they may face discrimination in the workplace, limited job opportunities, and unequal pay. Single mothers also may not have access to paid leave for maternity or medical purposes, which can lead to further financial strain and job insecurity. According to the Institute for Women's Policy Research, only 60% of working single mothers have access to paid sick leave, and only 37% have access to paid family leave. In addition, there exists a social stigma against single mothers, which suggests they are irresponsible, promiscuous, or unable to provide a stable home environment for their children. They may be judged for not being able to provide for their family without a partner's financial support, and they may also face criticism for not being able to devote enough time and attention to their children due to their work and other responsibilities. Even if they are well off financially, they are judged to a higher degree for failing to keep a partner and for splitting attention between financing the household and childcare. The single mother is one of the best examples of the lie that women can't have it all. With the lack of resources and support that women have regarding childcare, in addition to discrimination in the workplace, it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to attain the high standards that women are expected to meet in both the domestic and public sphere. It is impossible to give 100% to both work and family life. While men are praised for making a paltry effort at parenting, women are expected to put in so much more to be considered satisfactory.
I need y'all to quit saying that single mothers aren't accountable, because accountability looks like raising your child, even if that means you got to do it by yourself. That sometimes you cry yourself to sleep because you ain't got no motherfucking help. Nobody want to babysit this kid, so half the time you don't have a social life. You struggle because you got to pick between whether I get my nails done or whether my kid gets to go to football practice today. That's what accountability looks like. Somehow I'm gonna stretch this dollar I got and make it into eggs, milk, make it into covers. I don't know how. I got to work 48 hours in 2 days, but I'm gonna make it to a PTA meeting. I'm gonna call in, make sure his homework is done. That's what accountability looks like. So quit saying that single mothers are not being accountable for their actions. Accountability means you take care of your responsibility no matter how the they got here. What y'all need to do is start talking to these deadbeat ass niggas about accountability, because y'all seem to protect them far more than you protect single moms.
Being a mother itself is a status that changes how women are treated. In Pornography, Men Possessing Women, Andrea Dworkin wrote, "Pregnancy is confirmation that the woman has been fucked. It is confirmation that she is a cunt. In the male sexual system, the pregnant woman is a particular sexual object. She shows her sexuality through her pregnancy. The display marks her as a whore. Her belly is her sex. Her belly is proof that she's been used. Her belly is his phallic triumph. One does not abort his victory." And while this excerpt was primarily directed at abortion, it holds true for sexualization of women as well. Several kinks center around impregnation, typically forced impregnation, as well as the feeling of power it provides to men and the subjugation it provides to women. As one poster in the Forced Impreg tag writes, "The concept of forced impreg turns me on so much. There is no other way to invade a girl's body like it is by knocking her up with your semen, implanting your offspring into her against her will, forcing her to carry your genes in her for 9 full months, her swelling up like a balloon and waddling around brand marked for everyone to see, making her suffer by her own body, basically degrading her from the inside out, literally, making her deal with all the nasty side effects of pregnancy, because you decided so, and then on top of all wrecking her beautiful spotless body forever, by forcing stretch marks, weight gain, a forever ugly flabby stomach, and cellulite onto her. It's just so hot to do this to someone." Others fantasize about forcibly changing the mind of a woman via forced impregnation, centering similarly to many other kinks around gender essentialism. Women are meant to be bred and men are meant to breed. The reduction of women and men down to these roles is what radical feminists are often accused of, which is shared by both trans ideologists and conservatives.
Oh, you noticed that too, huh? You noticed that too. This is why you have to be very careful what these men say. Because a lot of women will hear, "I'll get you pregnant," and they think it's a compliment. They think it's a compliment. Meanwhile, this man is planning on ruining your life. He's planning on humbling you. You think this man likes you? You think he wants to be with you? No. He sees you doing well with your life and he wants you to slow down because he can't catch up. So what's the best way to slow a woman down? A baby. That's exactly why the fuck I'm child free. And even if you're not child free, even if you do want children, you still have to be diligent. You can't just listen when a man says, "I'll get you pregnant." What does that mean? Is it going to stick around? No. More than likely, he's not going to stick around. More than likely, he's going to stick you with a baby and kick rocks. That's not what you want.
It directly opposes the radical feminist viewpoint, which is that femininity and masculinity do not define a person, nor does their sex prevent them from or direct them into specific roles, hobbies, or personality traits. Some examples of this include more men need to rape, breed, FTMs, and dykes. Want to get high with someone. Want to end up so fuzzy I can't even lift my head up. It'd be so easy for them to trick me into taking all my clothes off. I already get so desperate and horny, being high would turn me into a dumb little pocket pussy. Plus, it's not like I could tell them not to fuck me when my pussy is dripping wet. I'd be too weak to even pretend to fight them off. They could fuck me for hours and I'd be too fuzzy and wet to stop them. Plus, there'd be no way to push them off me when they grab my hips and start pumping cum deep inside my pussy, pressing against my womb to claim me as their fuck toy. And if anyone saw me with a baby, everyone would know that I'm just a dumb girl who couldn't keep her legs shut. I am a fuck toy for men. My only purpose is to serve men. If they want to fuck my pussy, they can do that whenever and wherever they want to. I'm not allowed to complain because I was made to take cock. I want real men to put me in my place. I want to be photographed and filmed and blackmailed with that content. I want everyone to know how much of a slut I am. Everyone should know that I am craving cock 24/7 and run around with a dripping wet cunt all the time. I want my deepest and darkest secrets and kinks exposed. Let everyone know how to treat me right. And I want my nudes to be posted online for everyone to see and get off to. The sexualization of pregnant women illustrates how difficult it is to desexualize anything a mother does, from pregnancy all the way to actually being a mother via the MILF title. As noted in Understanding MILFs and Motherfuckers, a feminist icon or constraining archetype. Midway through the 1960s, a decade buttoned to the chin with strict morals and conservative values informing appropriate behavior for women and mothers, something remarkable happened. A famously awkward actor, Dustin Hoffman, framed between an older woman's legs, stammered out a line in The Graduate that rendered the collective male imagination unzippered. "Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me, aren't you?" Mrs. Robinson's answering sultry laugh reverberated in the American consciousness, and a new and strange sexual fantasy was born, namely, that of the carnal older mother. Retrospectively, it is odd indeed that such an unsexually delivered line would forever change American pornography and popular culture. Regardless, the movie's critical and commercial success both sparked the movement of 1970s and 80s porn videos starring older moms as sex teachers, and rolled out the red carpet for Miss Robinson-like characters in Hollywood. Despite the sensual mommy figure's growing popularity, the appearance of the acronym MILF, or Mom I'd Like to Fuck, would not occur until the release of American Pie in 1999. The comedy's now iconic character of Stifler's mom, dressed in leopard print satin lingerie and sipping scotch aged 18 years, the way I like it, she coquettishly explains to a high school senior, sealed the MILF status as a cultural phenomenon at the turn of the century. But why are men so fascinated with having sex with mothers, notably married mothers? Similarly to the obsession with marking and changing a woman via impregnation, the sexualization of mothers stems from archaic beliefs about sexual conquest of women. This is closely tied to the feminist critique of the politics of motherhood and pregnancy. As noted by Davis, first, according to a Playboy magazine article, MILFs are perceived to be more sexually experienced, knowledgeable, and confident than their younger female counterparts. Second, these powerful qualities promise a more mutually satisfying sexual experience, and, in certain cases, fulfill men's common sexual desire to be submissive. A study for the Journal of Sex Research shows that pornography widely upholds this assumption, finding that women in MILF videos more often initiated sexual activity and controlled the pace or direction of sexual activity than did female actors in teen videos. Bro Bible also weighs into the conversation with its article, 5 Reasons Why MILFs Are Awesome, providing additional reasons for the archetype's appeal to men. The article writes that sex with MILFs is regarded by men as sex with no strings attached, as adulterous and lusty MILFs are less likely to develop an emotional connection to their sexual partners. Furthermore, the publication readily admits the appeal of sleeping with women whose marriage renders her forbidden fruit, since they belong to someone else. The final reason, inextricably linked to the former, is that seducing a MILF is both a source of pride, given her presumed higher sexual standards than less experienced women, and also an expression of dominance over her husband. If she's the mother of a buddy, the show of dominance extends over him as well. This sentiment is reflected in even the most juvenile of middle school jokes. Think, what did you do last night? Your mom. What can be done to address these issues? Universal childcare, including the creation of 24/7 childcare centers, are essential to allowing women to remain in the workforce if they so choose, preventing the halting of a woman's career if she must wait for her child to reach kindergarten age. Maternity and paternity leave would also be helpful, with pay equivalent to that which they would receive while working, would allow parents to split the burden of early childhood care, as well as retain the woman's job as she recovered from childbirth. Better health care is also essential, as America has one of the highest maternal mortality rates out of any first world country. And of course, the pressure to have kids should be alleviated by valuing the intellectual labor and other contributions women make to society. While men are not narrowed down to their reproductive ability when they have offspring, women are. Women's reproductive ability is highly valued and coveted, and when women choose to have reproductive control, either having children or not having children, they are judged harshly for it. It is for these reasons that Korea's 4B movement has gained much support amongst Korean women, who find themselves forced into the domestic sphere, carrying the burdens of their children and maintaining the household. Mothers are an important focus of feminism, as many women become mothers over their lifetime. It's important that we focus not just on alleviating the pressure for women to conform to the role of breeder or reproducer, but also on the burdens that women face as a result of motherhood, from the impact to their wages, their freedom, and their bodies. Additionally, the ways that mothers are sexualized must be addressed, as it drives rape, abuse, and misogyny. When women become mothers and wives, often an intertwined identity, it decimates individualism. The woman is flattened into her title. Ma, her child calls her, often not knowing her name for years on end. Mrs. John Smith, she is referred to, from Christmas cards to credit card applications. Mothers deserve to be revered and treated with respect, and unfortunately, from both leftist and right-wingers, they often are not. This, dear viewers, is Reparts. This was supposed to come out before Mother's Day, but I am bad at doing things on a timeline. Anyhow, I think that a lot of people do recognize the importance of reflecting the role of motherhood in feminism, but you often also see feminists like a completely anti-natalist, and that's fine. I completely get that point of view too. But when it comes to thinking of solutions to a lot of these problems, you have to realize, what do most people do? What trends, these broad trends, can we address? Most women want to have kids. A lot of women and men want to have families. That's a normal thing to want. It's totally fine if you want it. You shouldn't be defined by your family or having kids, but we should also address the fact that a lot of women are going to have children, and how will that affect their lives. So hopefully this was a couple of solutions at the end that we could possibly look into, especially when I was living abroad. I wouldn't call Hungary a progressive place, but they had a really great system for childcare. Basically, pre-K was mandatory from a very young age, and it was free. So no one had to worry about paying for childcare. One of the big issues I see here in the U.S. is that women are choosing between, do I continue working full or part-time and putting all my money towards childcare, or do I just quit and stay on one income, if that's even an option for them. And having the option of childcare really frees up women to have more options in their careers and can help get rid of that gap that happens when women have to take off for 5 years until their kids go into public school. Anyhow, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.